bro, they really wasn't trolling this time, man. Look, this is insane. This is insane. So the TikTok ban is finally here, and it ain't no bluffing, man. It actually happened this time. This is a ban that's been teased since 2020, but there's been multiple attempts from the US government to try to ban the app throughout the years, and it's been pushed back and back and back to the point where, you know, this time around when they announced that it was going to be banned on January 19th, everyone thought, all right, bro, it's not actually going to get banned, man. Like, something's going to happen so that it's going to get pushed back, and then when that time comes, it's going to get pushed back again, and it'll never actually get banned. We ain't got nothing to worry about. Well, this screenshot says otherwise because, yeah, it's actually banned. And it was banned earlier than advertised because people were expecting it to be banned at like midnight. It got banned at 10:30 Eastern. So there is so much to cover when it comes to this story, both from a political, governmental standpoint, but also, you know, as a consumer of the app, what it's gonna do to the social media landscape, and you know how we rock on this channel, specifically what it means for creators. Honestly, I want to start off this video by just outlining the impact TikTok has had in the last 6 years, because in hindsight, in retrospect, what it's done in 6 years has actually been ridiculous, unheard of, and it's a reason why this ban is so big. Never in my lifetime, now mind you, I am only 24, so I haven't seen everything, but I have lived through the social media era, a majority of it, you know, Facebook and up. I wasn't there for MySpace, I ain't gonna lie. But ever since my lifetime, TikTok's growth was the most explosive growth of an app, of a platform that I've ever seen. For it to dominate the way that it did in such a short amount of time was absolutely insane to see. To the point where initially, when I hopped on the platform, the numbers I genuinely thought were fake. It made no sense to me how people were posting these short form vertical videos that didn't take much effort and are becoming famous overnight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I come from YouTube, where getting 10,000 views is a big deal. Getting 1,000 views on a video is insane. And people are posting these very simple videos and are literally getting thousands of views within the hour. Like, it was unheard of. It was absolutely unheard of. People like Charlie D'Amelio getting 10-20 million followers within a couple months. TikTok became the place where trends started. It became the place where conversation started. It became the place where the next generation of influencers were blowing up. And I think that's such a massive shift that just gradually happened over time that we don't talk about. When we talk about the biggest influencers today, they would not be here without TikTok. Full stop. Full stop. There was a point in time where the incubator of the next great influencer was from either Instagram or YouTube. I think over the last 3 to 5 years, YouTube is still in that conversation, but Instagram is definitely out, Facebook is definitely out, and a lot of the greatest influencers now are coming from either Twitch, to be honest with you, or TikTok. There's also been a massive shift in what it means to be a creator, what it means to be a successful full-time creator. There was a point in time where being a successful creator was just synonymous with being a YouTuber. Now, if you ask someone if they want to be a creator, that can mean a bunch of different things, but I would like to think that the top 3 things that they would want to be would either be a streamer, a TikToker, and then we could talk about being a YouTuber. And even if you want to be a YouTuber, you could still want to be a streamer or a podcaster, right? But to be a successful streamer or podcaster, you gotta dive into short form content. And the way short form content exists right now is directly correlated with TikTok's success. TikTok's impact in content creation just cannot be understated. It just can't, bro. What I was really seeing in front of my eyes without really noticing it at that time was my generation and the generation younger than me choosing their platform of choice. I think every generation has that. I think millennials have chosen Instagram and Facebook. There's a generation that, you know, leans towards YouTube. There's a generation that leans towards MySpace, a generation that leans towards Twitter. And what I saw primarily was the younger generation picking TikTok to be that platform for them. TikTok became a very serious competitor once I saw all the other social media apps trying to make TikTok clone.
Let's see what's on YouTube today. What's that? There's a new button down here called YouTube Shorts. It's another clone of TikTok. That's great, considering we have Instagram Reels and Snapchat Spotlight. I'm honestly just really glad that we have a fourth app with the exact same layout as TikTok.
The only other time I've seen something similar to that was when everyone was trying to steal Snapchat's flow. What made TikTok even crazier than Snapchat was everyone tried to steal their flow, but because of how addicting TikTok was and how much better the algorithm was, everyone tried to steal their flow. But you know, TikTok just hits different. And to this day, it still hits different. I kid you not, once the ban took effect, I literally went on Instagram Reels just to see, like, all right, if TikTok is gonna be banned, what does Instagram feel like if it's gonna be the replacement? And boy, it's night and day. It just is different, bro. I'm telling you, it's different. Tried the same thing with YouTube Shorts. It's just different. And I really do think the reason for that is because TikTok is an app dedicated for vertical short form content, and the whole ecosystem is around that concept. Meanwhile, with YouTube, Instagram, and I know Twitter even has their variant of it, like TikTok, their TikTok feature is just that. It's a feature. It's not the main focus of the app. Outside of Instagram, they've really been trying, I ain't gonna lie, and the culture just is not fucking with Instagram. It's a similar conversation with Twitch compared to a platform like YouTube, right? Like, YouTube has live streaming, Facebook has live streaming, Twitter has live streaming. But the reason why the culture fucks with Twitch so much, or even Kick, is because these are platforms dedicated for live streamers specifically. All the features, both for consumers and creators, are catered for live streaming. And I think TikTok, for short form vertical content, is exactly that. When you go on TikTok, it is an app dedicated to this. The user base, the creators, is dedicated to this medium. All the other apps is just a side project. It's just insane to me how TikTok has affected people's viewing habits in such a short amount of time, bro. Because one, like, TikTok is new to this. Like, when we compare TikTok to YouTube, to Instagram, to Twitter, like, those apps, those platforms came out in the mid 2000s, arguably early 2000s for some of these apps. TikTok came into the game in 2018, 2019. This is an app that's changed how local businesses market. This is an app that's changed how the music game as a whole operates. This is an app that lowered the barrier to entry to content creation so much that you can argue that it was actually detrimental to content creation, but you could also argue open up so many different creators within the space that we just wouldn't know today because, again, it was a lower barrier to entry to gain a following, to gain a level of influence that would have took years to have on a platform like YouTube, on a platform like Instagram. You didn't need a nice camera. You didn't know how to edit. All you had to do was know how to record on your fucking phone, be entertaining, and make a short video that was under 60 seconds. Like, everyone can do that. I'm gonna keep it a stack. This band is very, very bittersweet to me. Definitely leaning like 80% bitter, 20% sweet. And the sweetness part of the conversation really comes in the form of, to me, this can be, and this will be, a really, really big opportunity for creators that we've low-key been waiting for the last 3 to 4 years. People have been waiting. Companies have been trying to make the next TikTok, right? What is the next app that people can go to, that people can get on the ground floor of, that can become this very, very big thing that can change people's lives? What is the next social media app that people can get on the ground floor of, that if you get on the ground floor of, you can just, literally change your life and become a millionaire, right?
I think that's gonna happen, which is wild. It's one of the biggest resets of attention we've ever had. Usually it's gradual. When we went from the radio to television, it was gradual. When we went from the television to the cell phone, it was gradual. This is gonna be a shock of an ungodly amount of hours of attention having to find new audience. Here are the winners. Meta for sure. Instagram's gonna get a ton. Because a lot of people are insecure. They don't wanna start building again. So they'll go to the place where they have. So I think Instagram will be a big winner. And then I think the dark horse, and the one that excites me the most, is the unknown entrepreneur. You've got to imagine that there's an ungodly amount of fucking kids right now who are working on their TikTok clone to try to capture that.
Imagine getting on YouTube in the early days and knowing what to do. Imagine getting on TikTok in the early days in 2018, 2019, when there was still the stigma that being a TikToker was cringe. Getting on back then and knowing what to do. I think a lot of us would take that opportunity and say, man, fuck what y'all think about this cringy shit. If you get on this shit right now, it will change your life. You can become a millionaire if you just take that stigma out of your head. And people have really been trying to find that, and I would argue that it is going to be so hard for a new app to really come into the space and really change things that I wouldn't even bet on it. This is a whole nother theory. I feel like a lot of technology is just plateauing at this point. I think we're past the point of like really insane innovation when it comes to coming up with new mediums to communicate. So if there's not a new app that's gonna come in, the next most impactful thing that can happen in the social media space is similar to Vine back in the day, one of the core apps that people have chosen to just shut down for one reason or another. Because at the end of the day, the people that were on TikTok, they have to go somewhere. The attention has to go somewhere. It cannot just, well, it could, right? Like people can actually get 9 to 5s. They may start reading books, which you can argue is a good thing, right? But my overall point is right now, there's a lot of lost people trying to navigate this ban, trying to navigate where they want to stay. Are they just gonna wait it out? And that's another conversation I want to get into shortly. But you know, what is the new platform I'm gonna go on? What is my new norm? What is the new content? What are the new creators I'm gonna keep up with? And this is a golden opportunity for a lot of creators to say, hey, there's either going to be a very big boost on a platform that I'm already on, that I already invested in, or hey, if everyone's going to a new app, let me get on the ground floor before shit takes off, and I can be the next Charlie D'Amelio. I can be the next Keith Lee. I can be the next, I don't know, Sketch or Jinxie. Like, I can be that for this new app. And that opportunity right there, personally, selfishly, does excite me. But also just in general, like a new opportunity for new creators to blow up is, I think it's amazing. It's amazing for the content creator landscape as a whole. But like I said earlier, this ban is more so on the bitter side to me, primarily because, for one, from a viewership perspective, TikTok has damn near replaced YouTube for me in terms of the app that I go to when I have free time and want to entertain myself. Like, I go to TikTok now more than YouTube. That may have something to do with my relationship with YouTube and how, you know, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a content creator, but if I want to consume and just relax, I go to TikTok now. So just off of that alone, that's bitter to me. I don't want to lose that. But also, there's a lot of creators that chose TikTok as their home platform, and they just lost it with literally a snap of a button.
And to the US government, I'm never forgiving you for this. And I'm never gonna trust you ever again because you just, like that, took away millions of people's income and livelihood. And who does that? So I'm never trusting you ever again with anything. The pandemic, losing my job, all of that, getting divorced, like all of this crap that's happened to me in the last 5 years since I've been on here. Hours and hours and hours of time I put into creating stuff for this platform. And I'm not the biggest creator on here. Like, I'm not like, I don't have 3 million followers or 10 million followers, but I do have a platform. It's the biggest platform I have. And I worked really hard to make it.
Like, that's scary. That's the ultimate fear of anyone that wants to get into content creation. Anyone that's tried to get into content creation, the people around them who want to warn them about content creation, what is the one thing that they say? What if TikTok's gone tomorrow? What if YouTube's gone tomorrow? This is literally some people's worst nightmare come true. And even if it's not directly through monetizing on TikTok, this is gonna have a ripple effect like in the streaming game too. Like, obviously a lot of streamers make their money on other platforms like Twitch, but a lot of streamers have grown their platform through TikTok, either through the form of posting their stream clips on TikTok and then just funneling that over to their stream, or flat out growing an audience on TikTok first and then funneling that over to their stream. I also think when it comes to pure monetization of short form content, TikTok was the best of that compared to all the other apps. They have TikTok Live, they have TikTok Shop, they used to have the Creator Fund that is now the beta advertising program that they have when you post a video that's over a minute long. Like, they have actual CPMs, competitive CPMs over there. And this is not just some online internet shit. Like, IRL businesses, restaurants, have benefited off of TikTok. And I think the biggest example of this from a very surface level is Keith Lee's whole platform. And beyond Keith Lee, a lot of restaurants rely on TikTok's algorithm to feed people within the area videos of their restaurant, whether that be through other food TikTokers in the area or like actual marketing from the restaurant. I cannot tell y'all how many times TikTok has legitimately recommended me a restaurant within my local area. And mind you, it's accurate. If I'm in Massachusetts, I'm gonna get recommendations for restaurants within Massachusetts But if I'm in North Carolina for like a week or two, I'm gonna get recommendations for North Carolina. I just find it crazy in all of this, the people that were like, oh, but you should have diversified your income in the first place. You shouldn't have relied on TikTok in the first place. Like, that's such a head ass take to me. It's insane. And the reason why is because, one, I don't blame people for picking a home platform. If TikTok is the platform where you generate a lot of your success and that just matches your content style, I don't blame you for picking that app as the home base of a lot of your content. But even if you did diversify your income, right? Let's say you're making $10,000 a month through social media and TikTok is just 30% of your income. Bro, if you lost a revenue stream that's generating you $3,000 overnight, you would be mad too. Especially for people who have regular jobs. If you just lost 30% of your check, you would be pissed. You would be pissed. I don't give a fuck about that whole diversified shit, bro. And again, that's just so naive as to how social media works, because TikTok can have an indirect effect to your other sources of revenue. Like, that's just what it is. I'm gonna keep it a stack. The way the US government has handled this ban has just been a bunch of bullshit. Like, from the reasonings to it, how they've handled it over this last week, it's just been a shit show. We don't know if it's actually gonna get banned. The reasonings are hella inconsistent. And I understand a lot of people like throwing the whole, oh, this is violating my First Amendment rights thing out, like just loosely, which I do think it's a problem, because when it's actually getting violated against, it's just another one of those talking points that we just ignore now because we just use it for everything. But I think it's very, very important to call out that this is not a private company exercising its own TOS to enforce its own rules, right? This is the US government trying to do this off of the basis of foreign interference when they don't have a problem. At least that's what it seems like, when American companies are doing very similar things to what TikTok is doing. The only difference is that it's coming from a foreign source, and I don't know which one is worse. I truly don't. The scary part about this is the potential precedents that it sets for other companies outside of TikTok. Like, does this give them the opening to just attack any Chinese company operating within the US? I think before this, like, Huawei phones are already banned in the US, so this isn't the first time a foreign company isn't allowed to operate in the US. Now, there are rumors, and I'm gonna be honest, they're not really rumors, because if you look at the message they sent in the TikTok app, they're damn near like hand feeding this to us, that what TikTok is aiming for is for this ban to just be a temporary ban. Donald Trump is gonna be inaugurated in a couple days, and what TikTok is hoping for is, under the new administration, you know, they can work some things out, extend it another 90 days, and potentially keep the app going for at least 90 days. But if they're just gonna extend it another 90 days and nothing is really gonna happen from it, like, I'm gonna be honest, this is probably the reverse of this situation, and this is not gonna be a boy cried wolf situation. This is gonna be a we don't trust you situation at this point. I think both creators and users just won't be as invested in the app anymore, knowing that in 90 days, this shit is gonna be gone anyways. Like, I might as well invest into other apps. And also, if TikTok is just gonna turn into Truth Social, and if Elon's gonna buy it and turn it into Truth Social Lite, y'all can keep the app, man. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all can keep the damn app. Also, I believe a part of this is that the algorithm will definitely have to change, because, hey, let's keep it a stack. The reason why TikTok is so addicting is because of that algorithm. Ironically enough, it's also the reason why you can make a case that it is a threat to American citizens, is because of how invasive the algorithm is, but it's also why it's so fucking addicting, is because it knows you, and for it to know you, it's gonna have to steal a lot of your data points. Like, that's just the name of the game. That's just how technology works. And I think one thing TikTok definitely doesn't want to do is share that algorithm with an American company. That's been a thing for years now. And if Kevin O'Leary and friends are just gonna buy the TikTok user base and implement a shitty ass algorithm, again, y'all can keep the app, man. We can just try to move on, man. Hey, TikTok will never be the same, man. It'll never be the same. To me, the most interesting part of this story is really what's gonna happen after the fact, the ripple effects that this ban is gonna have on the social media landscape as a whole, how foreign companies interact with the US, how people consume news and media. Like, this is big, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Yo, y'all think y'all funny, bro. I swear y'all think y'all funny. So I'm recording this the day after I'm recording the video that y'all are watching right now. And as of 1 p.m. Eastern, this was a tweet put out by the TikTok policy account. Statement from TikTok. In agreement with our service providers, TikTok is in the process of restoring service. We thank President Trump for providing the necessary clarity and assurance to our service providers that they will face no penalties providing TikTok to over 170 million Americans and allowing over 7 million small businesses to thrive. It's a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. We will work with President Trump on a long-term solution that keeps TikTok in the United States. Furthermore, this is a direct statement from Donald Trump on Truth Social. He says, I'm asking companies not to let TikTok stay dark. I will issue an executive order on Monday to extend the period of time before the law's prohibitions take effect so that we can make a deal to protect our national security. The order will also confirm that there will be no liability for any company that helped keep TikTok from going dark before my order. Americans deserve to see our exciting inauguration on Monday, as well as other events and conversations. I would like the United States to have a 50% ownership position in a joint venture. By doing this, we save TikTok, keep it in good hands, and allow it to stay up. Without US approval, there is no TikTok. With our approval, it is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe trillions. Therefore, my initial thought is a joint venture between the current owners and /or new owners, whereby the US gets a 50% ownership in a joint venture set up between the US and whichever purchase we so choose. And they wasn't lying, bro. Look, it's back. This is insane. It's actually working in full. It didn't even last 12 hours. This is crazy. So this right here confirms a couple of things that I was originally thinking. One, that this ban wasn't gonna last like extremely long, at least the initial one. At least what I thought was gonna happen was that the app was gonna go dark for a couple of days. They were gonna talk to the new Trump administration with the hopes of trying to get an extension on the ban. And it looks like that's exactly what's happening right here. Number two, it also confirms to me how impactful TikTok is, because essentially what's going on right now is a battle for who controls this company, who controls this algorithm, because this, again, is a medium that a lot of people have chosen as a form of communication. Now, am I personally going to be back on TikTok once it goes back live? I'm going to be honest, I probably will, and I think a lot of people are going to go back to the app, but I'm going to be honest with you, the way I'm going to interact with this app is going to be completely different than what it was pre-ban, and I think a lot of creators will also follow this ideology, because until it's confirmed that this has actually been bought and that it is here to stay, if I'm a creator, I am having insane trust issues right now with creating on this platform. At this point, again, this is not a boy cried wolf situation. This should actually happen. The ban actually happened, and it can happen again in the future, and we already know what it's gonna look like. Like, it tangibly happened. So if I'm a creator, why would I invest my time, energy, effort, and resources on a platform that can be gone again in 90 days? I'm not about to put my means of income in the hands of something that I just ultimately don't have control over right now. Also, I'm not gonna lie, with the way things are heading in and what it's going to take for TikTok to stay in the US, even if it does stay, I'm telling you right now, TikTok is not going to be the same platform that it was in 2024 and the years before that. It's going to be a completely different platform. The algorithm isn't going to be as good, or there's going to be a very, very clear bias as to the content that you see on the app. And y'all know what I'm talking about when it comes to that bias. At this point, it feels like TikTok is going to be used as a propaganda tool, one direction or the other. And that, hey man, I'm going to just look somewhere else. I ain't going to lie.